There we go.
That's right. Kick it off, 5-star.
What do we have to fight against nuclear war? What do we have? What do we have that we never had before? What do we have? What do we have to fight against atomic bombings? What do we have? What do we have? What kind of favors can we call in? What do we have? We have technology and we have forgery. We have things that destroy our homes and families. We've got the ability to put those weapons down. We got that kind of power if we move, if we act right now. World peace and harmony and unity is the plea for freedom. World peace and harmony and unity is the plea for freedom. Somebody help! Somebody help! We want you. Somebody help! We need somebody you. Help! Help us! Help somebody help! Somebody help! We need you. Somebody help! We love somebody you. Help us! What do we have to fight against world hunger and poverty? What do we have? What do we have that's very deep inside of you and me? What do we have? What do we have to fight against that global warming? What do we have? What do we have to stop that black hole from performing? What do we have? We have technology and we have forgery. We have things that destroy our homes and families. We've got the ability to put those weapons down. We've got that kind of power if we move, if we act right now. World peace and harmony and unity is the plea for freedom. World peace and harmony and unity is the plea for freedom. Somebody help! Somebody help! We want you. Somebody help! We need somebody help! Help us! Help somebody help! Somebody help! We need you. Somebody help! We love somebody
Sound vision, sound vision, sound vision.
5-star.
What do we have to stop the spread of HIV and AIDS? What do we have? What do we have to stop that disease and world trade? What do we
Okay, here we go.
have?
we're going live and
We have technology.
all right, we're gonna go back to the top.
We have
5.
forgeries.
You know I'm already live on my show.
Got you. Here we go. And rolling. We got to make it move. To make it do what it do.
Dr. Bailey says she gonna be checking in soon.
What do we have to fight against nuclear war? What do we have? What do we have that we never had before? What do we have? What do we have to fight against atomic bombing? What do we have? What do we have? What kind of favors can we call in? What do we have? We have technology and we have forgery. We have things that destroy our homes and families. We've got the ability to put those weapons down. We've got that kind of power if we move, if we act right now. World peace and harmony and unity is the plea for freedom. World peace and harmony and unity is the plea for freedom. Somebody help! Somebody help! We want you. Somebody help! We need somebody you. Help! Help us! Help somebody help! Somebody help! We need you. Somebody help! We love somebody you. Help us! What do we have to fight against world hunger and poverty? What do we have? What do we have that's very deep inside of you and me? What do we have? What do we have to fight against that global warming? What do we have? Somebody help! What do we have to stop that black hole from performing? What do we have? Somebody help! Technology and we have forgeries. We have things that destroy our homes and families. We got the ability to put those weapons down. We got that kind of power if we move, if we act right now. Harmony and unity is the plea for freedom. World peace and harmony and unity is the plea for freedom. Somebody help! Somebody help! We want you. Somebody help! We need you. Somebody help! Help us! Help somebody help! Somebody help! We need you. Somebody help! We love somebody you. Help us!
All right, we're going now. Oh man, the challenge is the midst of it. We still rolling, baby. Yes, indeedy. We're live right here on the Peace in the Morning Show. This is Darius A. Stanton coming to you this Friday morning. We got a lot going on, a lot happening in the world. And today is the day, as they say, that the Lord has made. That's right. And the reason why we're going to say God this morning, we're going to put it straight on where the place is supposed to be. All of our energy, all of our focus, all of our light here on the Peace in the Morning Show is focused on pushing asset-based solutions, strength, focus, positive, light, bright, being bright and bold with good, being bold for good. Hashtag that right now. Be bold for good. Let's start that off as our hashtag for the day. Number 2 hashtag. We're using these hashtags because we want people to understand the significance of being able to use your energy to affect change. Hashtag hold our dollars. Hold our dollars. That's right, hashtag hold our dollars. Send those out right now. Be bold for good and hashtag hold our dollars. While we are in pain right now as a result of what's taking place in the city of Minneapolis, where the brother had his knee on his neck and killed on television, on international media, through social media, where the police officers were arrested and they protected them, stood in front of their houses to make sure that they were not harmed. No one stepped in. A supervisor did not show up and stop that young brother, that brother's life from being taken away. Regardless of the pleas, he had no violence. It was not a call for violence. It was not a situation where they had to arrest him and subdue him as a result of, none of that mattered. None of that mattered. And as a result of that, now you have the President of the United States making threats of violence, which started this whole situation in the first place. I should say it reignited it. And it gave the police, those dirty cops that are out there, so many good police officers. I've had family members who are police officers. There's so many people that put on the badge and truly go out there to help protect and serve people, to make sure that other people are not harmed and are treated with love and respect. At the same time, 20% of the police forces that were involved in a study last year, not 2015, not 1975, 1990, but in 2019. In 2019, there was a study done, and the study observed at least 5 different police jurisdictions in major cities. And what they found was 20% of those police officers, 20% of those police officers that were active, and another 10 to 20% that had just recently retired, had racist, soft social media posts on their pages while they were police officers. 20%, right? So I want us to understand that. So those police officers that mean well, that do good, it's time to, to turn on anybody that you see creating any situation, because it could cause anybody for loss of life, including the police officer themselves. So it's no longer time for us to just sit back and be, passive. African Americans are being killed in disproportionate numbers ourselves. We dealt with that in the first week of this series. How do we love ourselves? We dealt with how do we love ourselves in the midst of suicide, homicide, that's us killing us, genocide, that's people killing us for the fear of us being our original selves. That's also through COVID-19 and the deaths that's been disproportionate, not only here, but also in Brazil, where the president in Brazil has also stated, he basically doesn't care. The president here in the United States said, if the looting continues, then the shooting will start. He also said in his first year in office, President Trump also said at a national convention of law enforcement executives to make sure you rough them up before you arrest them. That was the order that he gave. The chief executive officer of the United States of America Corporation gave that order, rough them up. So he gave them a license, an illegal license, because he broke his constitutional oath to hold up the Constitution when he did that. That was an offense right there that he could have been removed from office on, based on that. But now we have a situation where we have to take the matter into our own hands. And when I say that from a peaceful perspective, but the peaceful perspective is hold our dollar. If you look at any major movement that has transpired in our lifetime over the last century, if you look at the civil rights movement, it wasn't just the marches. It was when we set up a situation where we stopped spending money, where we stopped going to work, when we stopped riding the buses, when we started boycotting and holding our dollar. Remember the United States of America's dollar. The Black people in America have over $1.2 trillion. That would be more than 17, that would be the 17th ranked country if we were ranking that in terms of world economies. African Americans amassed $1.2 million. The other movement that I'll bring your attention to is apartheid in South Africa. They were killing Black people and arresting Black people like it was sport, until Coca-Cola and other major companies that were tied to South Africa started being boycotted around the world. When we started holding our dollars, we started making a difference, and they shut down apartheid. But it wasn't until we held our dollar. So it's no need of going out gun for gun and working to shoot our way out of this madness. It's not the answer. The answer is for us to love ourselves and for us to be able to put a stop to spending our dollars with organizations and companies that support the prison pipeline. Look it up. There's a whole list of about 100 companies that support the prison pipeline to make sure that African Americans and people of color continuously get sent to jail by people that are coroners. Those are the people who review the bodies and give the statements as to what happens after they review the bodies after homicides or some of the deaths. Those are the prosecutors, the ones who take the information to the grand jury, just like in Ahmaud Arbery's case, where in Ahmaud Arbery's case, they took it to the grand jury. They took it to the prosecutor. She didn't even take it to the grand jury. She deferred it. Another one deferred it. It wasn't until the third prosecutor looked at it, and then the state Board of Investigations had to be involved before they did that, where they actually found there were other people going in the house, other children, another white couple, and this particular brother goes into the house and they run him down and shoot him in cold blood in the street. Not in defense, self-defense, but they stood in his path, one on top of a truck and the other one on the ground, and took his life. And the bullets came not from the struggle of the gun, but the dude in the truck. Why are you in the truck in the first place? If you don't witness a crime, you don't have the right to make a citizen's arrest. They didn't witness the crime. There was no crime committed. They could not see inside that house. It was a video show. They didn't show anything where he picked up, stole anything. And even if it were, that was not cause. And so, in these instances, we have to make sure we understand, hold your dollar. Stop giving your money to people and spending your money with people who don't respect you, who are supporting a president or any institution that is working towards the demise of any people, not just Black people, human beings, period. This is Darius A. Stanton with the Peace in the Morning Show. We have a list of guests that are dynamic people. And our focus today in this 3-part series is how do we love ourselves? Part 1, I said suicide, homicide, genocide, and COVID-19. Part 2, how do we love ourselves in our homes, which is where the violence starts before we come into the street and kill ourselves. And now part 3 is focused on the queens, mothers of the universe, principles of Blackness. Beware, won't you love yourselves? Welcome to the Peace in the Morning Show. Queen Nicole Black right here in Waldorf, Maryland. Thank you for joining us on the Peace in the Morning Show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. First of all, let me just say, I love you, brother. I love you. Because at the end of the day, like you said, we are all human beings. I teach my children, don't look at the color of people's skin, but at the same time, now I have to change my language. I have to change my language for my son. I have to change my language for my daughter. I'm raising a queen and I'm raising a king. And it is a challenge. Every day is a challenge. But every day I tell them, look at yourself. Tell yourself, I love you, because you are important. The love starts with you first. In order for you to love someone else, you got to love yourself first. So I just want to, reiterate, I love you because of who you are, because of what you stand for, not because of the color of your skin, but who you are and who God made you to be, and the platform that you utilize to get out to people. We are here to love each other, to respect each other, to be kind to each other, but not just because of the color of our skin, because our color is beautiful. Our color is who God intended us to be. And he knew at that time when he created us, who was going to hold that color well and hold it to a degree where we can say, you know what, I'm proud of the skin that I have. I'm proud of who I am. And I can look at myself in the mirror every day and say, I love you. So I just wanted to just say thank you for inviting me. Thank you for allowing me to be on your show today. And, as a queen, as a mother, it is a challenge every day to wake up, just as I'm sure it is a challenge as a brother to wake up every day and to know that we have to go out into this world and stand still and say, you know what? I'm here for a purpose. My purpose is to live a purposeful life. So my purpose for you today is to live a purposeful life and to let other queens know you're not alone. You're not alone. We're here. And you talked about suicide. I've been through that. I've experienced that. And, it is not something that I hold as a place in my heart where I was going through my own mental, I would say, depression. And I didn't realize that we as women, we suppress a lot, and we don't tell our men that we need to be comforted. We need to be helped. We go through a lot. We hold you guys up. We hold you up to a degree where we know at the end of the day, you need us just as much as we need you. So I say to women that are struggling during this time, with suicide, that call on your brothers, call on your sisters, let them know what's going on. Don't suppress it. Don't hold it in. It's okay. I know that crown is heavy, but we don't have to, continue to hold our crown just up for us. We need some hands to help us hold our crown. And it's okay. It's okay to say, I need help. So for all the queens out there that are experiencing suicide or domestic violence or anything of that nature, just know that there are people out here that want to help you, that want to support you, and that want to be there for you. So to my queens, just know that you're not alone. To my brothers, we thank you for holding us up, and we thank you for doing your part as our kings. So that's all I have to say as of right now, unless you have any other questions.
Well, Queen, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your energy. We had some shifts today, and you came on board at the very 11th hour. And so I truly appreciate that. But, God knows what he's doing, and the universe is in total control. We also said that the brother and sisterhood of being Taurians. For those who don't know what I'm referring to, I'm talking about Taurus the bull, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, that's me.
Okay, well, that's a perfect segue to our next guest. So thank you so much, Nicole Black Queen. Thank you. We will be right with you and keep on pushing. And one of the things that you heard her say, today is about queens and self-love. And we've got to be able to love and nurture and provide the support for our queens, mothers of the universe. They give birth 9 months. Brothers can't really, we can't understand that. There's no comprehension for that. To carry another life inside of you for 9 months, give birth. I was talking to a very good friend. She's a senior of our family. And she was talking about her son, who is 50 years old as I, and he's homeless and he's a drug addict. And her other children were very upset because they wanted to know, Mom, why do you keep fooling with him? And she said, you can't understand. I carried him for 9 months. That's my child. And people want you to turn your back. And sure, there's we understand, the addiction process and how we enable. And she took responsibility for the enabling. And she prayed and she asked God to please help her to not enable her son. And she also told him, you got to do it yourself. And when we had, thanks to Terry Holt, when we had our good brother, Michael Collier on the show, Michael Collier talked about being a drug addict and how he prayed to God to make him sick when he went to cop for drugs. And that was what helped him to reveal, to really drop that whole issue that he was dealing with regard to drug addiction. So thank you so much, Queen Nicole Black. Today we are focused on how queens love ourselves. And you dealt with that piece, totally from the perspective that, hey, we got to be in a position to understand we need to nurture, we need to love and provide support for our queens so that we are putting ourselves in a position that we protect and love and take care of our family. So this next sister we're going to bring on is Marshall Woodland. She's from St. Louis, Missouri. And right now, we're dealing with a very serious situation in Minneapolis where the young brother was killed on Monday. He had a knee on his neck. He had a knee on his neck. And during that time, as a result of that, he was killed, and everybody watched in the world. But we saw something very similar to that take place in Ferguson. And now, as the buildings are being burned right now inside of Minneapolis, the same thing took place in St. Louis. And Marshall, thank you so much for joining us, Queen. We appreciate you being a part of the Peace in the Morning show this morning, our special series on how do we love ourselves, focused on Queens. So take it away, Queen. Tell us about the work that you're doing and how you began to love yourself, and then that helped you to get into the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for having me. Just listening to you talk and bringing back the memories of what we went through here in St. Louis with the Ferguson case, with the Mike Brown case in Ferguson, Missouri. It's so hurting because we know what needs to be done. And the people that are out here that are doing the looting and doing, I understand their stand, I understand, but they definitely need to know that it's really not helping us. It's getting a message across, but as far as how we've seen or seen as a people, it's like that's what we expect of them, right? And when you said hold the dollar, that's powerful. That's more powerful than loot. But for us to be able to reach more people in our community to let them know that, okay, there's another way. And that way is hold that dollar. Hold that dollar. That's so powerful. And me as a comedian, I'm on this mission to help and heal through laughter. And I'm so thankful to all of the people who are coming together with me across the country for this mission that I'm on. And it's mainly for helping to get people out of homeless situations and avoid it. And I do raise awareness for not just homelessness, but also mental illness, because I can too relate to the homelessness. I've been in and out of homelessness. I've experienced suicide. I actually tried to take my life 4 times during a time when I was taking on the United States government as a postal worker. I had to start loving myself, to heal myself, and to also begin the process of being able to start helping and healing in my community. And I had to start with self-loving myself. If we start focusing on self-love, we can then love others. We can then help others. I wanted to stress that, and I was so glad that was the topic. And I was like, oh my goodness, I have to be a part of this show, because that's what I've been focusing on. And I've been telling my family, my children, especially my children, you have to love yourself. I had to steer away from relationships to get closer to loving myself and getting closer to faith. And that's another thing, we have to get closer to faith. Those who are close to faith know and understand, and they have a better mindset on dealing with any and everything that comes their way. And I want to cry, but the tears won't fall, because I'm basically cried out. When I started hearing about the stories, what was going on in up there in Minnesota, I was like, OMG. My daughter just came back from Minnesota a couple of years ago, and she said what happened there happened like right around the corner down the street from where she used to stay. So if she was still living there, she would be experiencing what she missed out on in St. Louis. She wasn't here when it went down with the Mike Brown situation. Ooh. I'm just hoping that more of my comedian friends come on board for the comedy movement, and us using what we love to do to start helping more people get happier through comedy. People need laughter. They need it so bad right now. I know times are not funny. What we're going through is not funny, but in light of what comedy does for people and how laughter makes you feel good, it's what helped me. Comedy saved my life. I had to start writing again. I had to start by getting on the stage and feeling better about what I love doing, which was comedy. And doing comedy, it was my dream, but chasing that dream led me to my purpose. So now I know why I'm here, why I'm on earth to do what I do, why it's very important for the End Homeless Mission, and how I married the End Homeless Mission with the comedy movement.
You know, we got you put out a call today for comics, and we got a host of comics on here today. But the one thing I love about these brothers that have joined us is not only are they about making people laugh, but they also about waking people up. We got our good brother returning for another week, Laughing Lenny. He's been on with us now almost 4 or 5 weeks straight. We also got our good brother Tony Woods in the house.
Oh, Tony.
Yeah, look, oh, Tony, look, they like, oh, Tony.
I haven't seen Tony in a long time.
Looking in there like, who is that looking at? Who's that knocking at my door?
A lot of these comedians have been watching me for years, working hard to pull off this huge comedy festival that's also a fundraiser for all involved. So it's like a win-win. I'm doing it as an online event starting June the 9th. And I'm looking for all the help I can get. We're looking for more people to sign up and get involved. It's hosting or competing, but the competition is.
Well, I tell you what.
Hello.
We're definitely in a position. Is that Tony? Yeah, we're definitely in a position where we have to make sure, that we make that connection, right? That we make that connection to loving ourselves. And what you said, Queen Marshall, was, you stepped away from relationships because you realized that those relationships were not helping you and allowing you to love yourself. And, Sister Nicole, Queen Nicole, talked about the fact that we need brothers and sisters to be able to love ourselves. We need to be able to love ourselves so that we can get that support. The queens hold us up, and who's holding up our queens? And, we've got Dr. Mayat, a native of Baltimore, professor at Morgan State University, co-founder of the Edamame, please forgive me if I pronounce that improperly, Productions, company that produces education programs for children. Flagship project, Meltrek, is centered on self-love. And so we've been working to get her on here for about 3 or 4 weeks. But we're so glad that you made it. You came when the time was supposed to be right. That's where we go with the divine order. I want people to understand something. I want y'all to share this right now because I want people to understand why it's so important for us to look on the inside, for us to love on the inside, for us to pray on the inside. When you see things going on the outside in the world, when you see things going on even in your immediate environment, you have the power to change that on the inside. Do you ever ask yourself the question, why is it that we don't have all the money, we don't have all the military, we don't have all of the media control? Why is it that even though we don't have those things, people still want to put their knee on our neck and kill us? Why they want to still choke us? Why they want to still hold us back from getting ahead? Why is it that you want the people who are at the least amount of financial resources and are the least threat? We're not going out killing people at a random number. We're not going into other countries, taking over other people's countries and making people then bow down to us and use their resources. We're not doing that. So why is it? It is because it's what's inside of you. You have the power. We have the power. And so, Dr. Mayat, we brought you on this morning. And thank you so much, our good brother DJ 5-Star, for making the connection. We're going to take a break. But before we take that break, Dr. Mayat, and come to our comedian brothers that have joined us as well to support our queens this morning, we want to hear from you about the importance of self-love. So thank you so much for being an educator. Thank you for working with our children. And now we're going to give the mic to you so people can hear how important it is and where the mindset of loving thyself.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, peace and power to you, Brother Darius Stanton. Thank you so much for having me on your platform. I want to say peace and power to the queens on the platform. Peace to you, my sister, Nicole Black, and peace to you, my sister, Marshall. When Marshall was speaking, when the queen was speaking, Brother Darius, I was getting pumped up. My mic was on mute. And I was like, oh, because she's saying, she said so many powerful things. And one of those things was that loving others starts with loving yourself. So often we say, I love you to our men, our children, our family, our community. Now, how can you love someone if you don't love yourself? So like Michelle said, that you have to, that love, it begins with self-love first. And how can you love yourself if you don't know who you are? So if you look behind me, you see I had the Sankofa bird, which is a West African symbol. It's an Akan symbol that means to go back, to fetch and get what was lost. So that's why you see the bird head spent backwards. So right now, I believe that Black people are in a state of Sankofa. You know, we were in a state of Ma'at prior to European colonization, enslavement, and domination. And then we were in Ma'at. So Ma'at was a period of when we were building great nations, we were building thriving civilizations. We are the people. We are the salt of the earth. That's what the Bible says. We are the salt of the earth. And so we went through a few periods in African American history. The first period was the Ma'at, when we were building, we were forming civilizations and kingdoms and discovering nature. We were practicing science and religion and all sorts of things. And then we went through a period of Ma'afa. And the Ma'afa is a Swahili word, which means the great disaster. And that is when we were colonized, we were enslaved, we were shipped around the world. And right now, we're in a phase of Sankofa where now we're going back and we're returning back to our tradition. We're returning back to that self-love we once had for one another, that self-love that we had that emanated inside of us. And now we're, and projecting out to others. But you see behind me, I have Sankofa. So we had to go back and fetch what was lost. Well, what was lost during the Ma'afa? One thing that was lost during the Ma'afa was our identity. We were stripped of our names. We were stripped of who we are, our history. We were stripped of our gods. We were stripped of our culture. Okay. And we were brought here to I always say the hells of America, but the wilderness of North America. We were brought here. We were made slaves. But what we brought with us was Africanism. So we formed a culture. Okay. So even under European domination, we still have a way of life. We still have a culture, but that culture was born out of reaction in a sense. It wasn't like a culture that we sat down and decided to create. It was a culture that was born out of being under the thumb or domination of others. And so now we're breaking away from that. And as Sister Marshall stated earlier, she was talking about the riots in Minnesota. And I know you said, well, how did she jump from culture to Minnesota? Let me tell you. So that was just an example to show you how reactionary we are. In a sense, and that's really a part of our culture. We've become a very reactionary people. And so I agree with Sister Marshall that I don't agree with the riots and what took place down there. I think as students of history, we need to understand that those strategies are ineffective. We did that 50 years ago. We marched, we went toe to toe with the police. We vandalized and destroyed, property in our own communities, but that hasn't stopped. That hasn't stopped or ended police brutality. We still have Trayvon Martins. We still have Michael Browns, Tamir Rice, Sandra Bland, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Walter Scott, and Eric Garner, and now we have our dear brother George Floyd. And so we have to change our strategy. And so one thing that I do propose is that we begin to take over the police force. I said that last night on my show. I said that we need to take over the police force. Right now, 80% of the degrees being earned at the universities are being given in the School of Business. So most of our children are going to school to get business degrees, and it's no knock to that. I mean, I'm not knocking that, but I think that what we need to do is start saying, hey, if we want more of us to patrol our neighborhoods, then let's encourage our children to get involved in law enforcement and take over the police station. Another thing that we can do now is police the police. We can get out there and police and patrol our own communities. Okay, so that way the police don't even have to come into our neighborhoods. Police the police. We could police our own neighborhoods and police the police when they come into our neighborhoods. Another thing that we can do is instead of running out here and arguing over who's a Democrat and who's a Republican, I've been saying for many years that we need to start our own Black political party and use our votes to influence political figures to pass legislation that benefits the Black community. So I have a number of ideas when it comes to that. And so I know you said you wanted to take a break soon.
No. Hey, look, my sister, I'm just, you sing it, it's music to my ears.
You rolling.
And I took notes, right? But I want to encourage the folks that are watching. I want to encourage the folks that are guests on the show right now. Share this show with your network, because this information that this sister's providing us, right? She's done her homework. And one of the things that I want us to, there's a couple of lessons. Get your notepad out. Okay, I got mine. I'm the host of the show and I got my book out. You understand what I'm saying? You got to be able to do research. We can't keep just talking on the surface, going to lectures or watching somebody on television, and then you go share what they said without going to do the research to find out if what they really said is, first of all, factual, to other sources support that. But she talked about, several different periods of our time in civilization, and so we need to educate our children to be able to do this so we know who we are. And, Queen, I got something for you. Come on, because I know that you created a cartoon, and that's what I really want to get to. I can't wait to get to that animation, right?
Yes,
because let me tell you how powerful this is. I have been praying. I have been meditating, because I understand the reason why we started this show is not to promote Darius A. Stanton. I didn't want my name on the show. The people that were working me in the producing, they were like, no, you got to add it because you're a brand. I was focused on the work, because I'd rather be that pebble that hits the ocean and becomes a wave on the other side of the world than the billboard that you see coming into Baltimore City that says whatever it says there. That's not important, because that's going to come and go. But what's not going to go is that energy that we put into the universe. And we got to be able to understand how important it is to love ourselves. And so mass communication is one of the greatest tools in the imagery. And what took place with Black Panther, when people started to go out and put on garb and wear African garb and head wraps and kufis and go to movies, and nobody sent out an email or a LinkedIn or nothing on social media telling you how to go. It was the spirit of the image. And that's what we got to revert to. We got to revert to the spirit. We can't keep spending our money on alcohol, spending our money on meat and foods that kill us, spending our money on going to NFL football games when they already showed us that they don't care about us.
Come on. That's right.
70% of the people that play for the NFL are African-Americans, but you don't care that our African-American people are being killed. And now you see why Colin took a knee, and you didn't like that he took a knee, but you don't want him to burn up the city. He took a knee, that was peaceful. I apologize. I'm pumped up. Dr. Maya.
No. I love when you talk, brother, because you giving me that energy. You get me just as pumped up as you. But you said a lot, and also I want to go back to something Sister Marshall talked about when she said that you love yourself with the way you spend your money. Black folks say that we love ourselves, but you still giving your money to people or communities who don't invest in your communities. You're giving your money to a community, right? Communities who don't invest in your community, don't have the best interest of your community at heart, and the two, they disrespect your community. That's not loving yourself when you spend. So I love when the sister said that you spend. You can measure someone's love based on how they spend their money. You can also measure someone's love, in my opinion, on what you listen to. What do you subject your brain to every morning? I've had constant conversations with my kids because, again, they're growing up in this American culture. So we have our household culture, right? And so there are things in our household that does not align with this culture at all. And one thing that I've been telling my boys, who are my eldest is 21, and then I have he's not really a middle son, but he's underneath him. He's just turned 20. And I was just having, DJ 5 Star, I know who they are. I just had a conversation with them about the music that we listen to. And I was telling them that, we have to be very careful of the things we subject our minds to, because ultimately we begin to mimic these things. And you may say, well, no, I'm not going to mimic, that. I know it's just entertainment, but you can't unsee things and you can't unhear things. So once you ingest them internally, these things are inside of you. So you have to be very aware, very mindful of the things that we watch and the things that we see, because ultimately you become these things, whether or not you believe it or not. And so that's a part of loving yourself, being mindful of the things you subject your mind to, the things you watch. Another part of loving yourself is our diet. What are we eating? What are we eating? Are we eating, fried foods every day? And this is no diss to our community, but when you look at the health statistics, we have the highest rate of diabetes. We have the highest rate of blood pressure. We have the highest rate of these ailments. And so a part of loving yourself is then, watching what you eat, and getting involved in health, watching what we feed our children. We say we love our children, but look at the things we give our children. Read the back of the ingredients of those potato chips and candy that you're giving your baby, So a part of loving yourself is, watching your diet or being mindful of your diet. The sister Michelle said another thing. She said healing is a part of loving yourself. And she's right. Healing. I had to heal from a lot of things, a lot of traumatic things that happened to me in my childhood, because what happens is we act out those things unconsciously and consciously in our adulthood. And so a part of loving yourself is healing from past trauma. Mending relationships. A lot of people come from broken homes. Some people struggle with drug addiction. Some people were in prison. Some people have been sexually violated. And if I talk about you say this conversation is about the Queens. Well, let's talk about in Baltimore. And this is according to Dr. Patricia Newton, who is a psychologist here in Baltimore. She said that 8 out of 10 females in Baltimore are sexually violated before the age of 18. And I've talked to so many.
What was that number again?
That number was 9 out of 10, according to Dr. Patricia Newton. And I can speak for myself as a victim of being sexually violated at the age of 8. It's very common. It's very common, And so when you said something earlier, Brother Darius, about protecting queens or protecting, we need to protect our daughters. We need to protect our queens. You're absolutely right. We need to be protected at all costs, because we got to remember, according to Minister Farrakhan and Elijah Muhammad, a nation can only rise as high as its women, because it's the woman that gives birth to the nation. It's the woman, right, that nurtures the nation. She births the nation. She nurtures the nation, right? Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the nation. That is the woman. So if you want a strong nation, you got to protect the entity that births the nation, the entity that nurtures the nation. And who is that? That is the Black woman. Yes. That is the Black woman. So we got to do better with protecting our babies, protecting our little girls, protecting our Black queens. And so I'm sorry, Brother Darius.
No, you're not sorry. I apologize for interrupting you. I want to make sure we put a pin in what you just said. I did my research for my master's at Lincoln University, studying the violence among African-American boys and juveniles and incarceration between the ages of 16 and 24 years old. And what we found was 70% of those who were incarcerated at the Baltimore City Juvenile Justice Center had been neglected, abused, or some other form of abuse, 70%. So that's why I say the violence that we see in our communities, it starts at home. And to know that 9 out of 10 of our sisters, have been through that. I want us to make sure that we create something. When we come back, we have a show specifically. There's a brother in Washington, D.C., the principal of the Richard Wright Charter School. And he just started a movement to stop and protect our young girls. And I want people to understand something real quick. We have to get real serious about what's happening in our community and stop playing with it. I love music. Normally on the Funky Friday on the Peace in the Morning show, we start off with Trouble Funk, Essence, Junkyard, it might be anybody. We crank it all the way live. There are 5,000 people that showed up at one corner in D.C. to make sure to start a campaign called Don't Mute D.C., which was basically to make sure that D.C.'s go-go music had its platform. Very important, very important. But the brother had a program and a march and a rally centered around girls being watched, being abused, being harassed, being catcalled while they were walking home from school in their skirts. And we didn't have 500 people show up. You understand the priority? You see what I'm saying? Because we still have men over 18, 21, 22 years old, 25, 35 years old that think it's okay to go whistle at a young girl 16 years old. to go say something to a little girl, and if she give it to you, I'm gonna take it. You know, those ignorant mentalities. We gotta shift gears because this is happening in and around us. And so we gotta take them stands. So we're gonna have a show specifically on that topic and go deeper, because I understand that in those issues with those 70% of those boys were abused, they were sexually harassed.
That's
sexually
right.
assaulted.
That's
They
right.
were molested. They were abused by men from outside of the house or inside of the family, or in some cases, women have sexually assaulted, you know, so we got to address that. When we come back, we're going to talk to our sister Val Jenkins from Hugs Don't Shoot out of Baltimore City. This is Darius Stay Stanton on the Peace in the Morning show. We got DJ 5-Star. I know we normally incorporate a little bit of music, but right now we got to get with the program, and the program is not music unless it's talking about world peace, unless it's talking about Hugs Don't Shoot, unless it's talking about something that's will take us to another level. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Make sure you share this show. It's probably one of the most important. How do we love ourselves? From our queens talking about self-love. This is Darius Stay Stanton on the Peace in the Morning show. Hey, 5-Star.
Dr. Oya Mayat.
She got us fired up, don't she, brother?
Man, I need her permission to play some of this Mel track right on this live right now.
Yes. Please do, 5. I didn't even talk about the program.
That's all right. I got your back. We're gonna do it. We live.
Yeah, and I'm talking about you and me. Our pigmentation considered greatest in royalty. So rise up, sons and daughters of a KB land. It's time to claim our riches and take back our land. So come and take this journey, and when you come back, tell your friends and family all about the Mel track. Mel track.
I'm gonna play one song. I'm gonna bring this from the top, but before I do, I got Joey King on my line. He said, please watch Hidden Colors. It's not a Bible, but it'll point you in the right direction. Hidden Colors is what basically about us. He said the police idea sounds amazing, but it's documented that they will kill black cops too. It happened here in Baltimore. We saw that. My auntie says there's a book called Push Out by Monique Morris, which deals with the criminalization of black girls in schools. It's a powerful book and film on PBS on YouTube.
And talk about the Mel track.
And they gave so much to the world. Come, let me show you. And they gave so much to the world. Come, let me show you.
Now, she wrote all these raps, so please listen to this.
Back in 3000 BC, the Nile Valley was the place to be for you and me. The Nile River gave abundantly to human beings. I'm speaking of the ancestors of you and me. The melanin people, they rose. Had mad food and gold to the extent nobody knows. Story filled with holes, but we know. They build nations, form civilizations. I could show you everything, but I need your patience. There's so many places that we can start. So I'm gonna pick Egypt, cause it's my heart. So kids, they built the pyramids, perfectly aligned with the sun, moon, and stars. To honor did, so mathematics was a must. They had equations way before there was Pythagoras. The steps of the pyramids proved they knew the solar system too. Aligned with the sunrise and set in the moon. They give religion to the world too. I cannot accept this one God respect due. And we can't forget the son of God, the God who rule. Now there's hundreds of religions, but they're all new. The magic letter on the walls is our living proof. It's the oldest writing system, so there's the truth. You can find it on the temples, pyramids, and Tekken. We develop papers so you can learn these lessons. If they can, we can, but you gotta take it back. Learn your history with me through Mel track. Let your mind evolve. Take pride in who you are. To let the world see you stand tall. If they can, we can, but you gotta take it back. Learn your history with me through Mel track. Let your mind evolve. Take pride in who you are. To let the world see you stand tall. Stand tall. Stand tall. Stand tall. Stand tall. Stand tall.
Proud of you, sis. Make sure y'all go download, get that. That's Ed Anime Productions. It's really a series called Mel Track. So you got volume 1, volume 2. That's a clip from volume 1. Ladies and gentlemen, Mel Track. That's MEL for the melanin in our skin, and track for our journey. See, I learned. I'll be listening to Doctor.
Hey, no doubt. Let's give it up. We got to be able to create. I love that. Thank you so much. And Doc, we're going to come back to you so that we can get the information around that program that you put on. I got a sister that's been waiting for us, and I appreciate the brothers that's on here, Laughing Lenny, good Tony Wood, Alfonso Pardon. You know, thank y'all for joining us. But Val Jenkins, we met on the street, on the front line. For those of you who know Baltimore City, you know McCullough Homes. was one of the most violent projects, community neighborhoods in the city of Baltimore and in the country at one time. And, you know, we met along with some brothers from the nation, some ministers from other organizations, that the city of Baltimore created a program under Mayor Pugh, to her credit, that focused on addressing violence, and a whole department of men that were working and walking in the community. And she and I met. She was the only sister that was allowed to walk with the brothers. Not because we didn't want sisters out there, but brothers have to take that stand. So ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to our sister from Baltimore, Maryland, Miss Val Jenkins. Hugs, don't shoot. Peace and love.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. First, I want to thank you, Darius, for inviting me to this amazing show that I try my best to listen to each and every week. Listen, this platform today almost made me forget that I was at work. This platform today is powerful. So I want to start out with loving yourself. If you notice, I have on a shirt that says 4/28. That is my birthday. If I die today or tomorrow, everyone in Baltimore will know what 4/28 is. It's my own brand. Love yourself. It's so many different topics I want to talk to, and I know this is a short term, but Hug Don't Shoot mission is to bring a sense of peace to every community, one hug at a time. And when I say every community, I mean every community. I love Black people. But guess what? I love all people. This time with the pandemic, with the racism, with the crime, we cannot put all in that category. And I know it's so hard for us right now, but we cannot. It's some good police officers out here. It's some good white people out here. It's some good Muslims out here. Some good Jews out here. Unfortunately, the bad ones is destroying the world. So we have to learn to love the ones that's doing good and point out and place the bad ones in prison. It was several things on here that people talked about, and one is loving yourself. Suicide. With Hug Don't Shoot, I receive at least 1, 2, 3 calls a week on suicide. When I first started Hug Don't Shoot, and Hug Don't Shoot was not an organization I sat down and said I wanted. I felt like God threw it at me, literally threw it at me. I was on the beach of Cancun, Mexico. I looked on my phone and someone in Baltimore got murdered. And I said, we need to start hugging and stop shooting. It was just a comment. And I said, who want to go out hugging? I wasn't even for real though. And that night, 46 people signed up. 46 people signed up. We put the thoughts together. We realized we could not just go out there hug. We came up with the t-shirts. My niece came up with the t-shirt brand, bright colors. You'll always see us in bright colors. 42 people showed up. That Monday on August the 5th at 12 o'clock, it only supposed to last 4 hours. That Monday, the governor's office called me. Tuesday, the mayor's office called me, but Wednesday was the kicker. Someone called me on my Facebook inbox and said my best friend's son was murdered. In my mind, I wanted to know why she was calling me. I'm not a police. I don't work for the funeral home. I was so confused. She said, I watched you and we just want your hugs. I went to this strange house at 9 o'clock at night. I didn't know anyone there. Anyone know me? No, a lot of people in Baltimore know me. I stayed there till 1 o'clock. When I left, I made a post on Facebook that this is real. This is now August the 5th will be our 3rd year with Hug Don't Shoot. We stopped counting, thank you. We're over probably 1,500 events and organizations that we collaborated with. And that's all a nonprofit with no grants. We do it out of our hearts. And this is not about the money, but the little small donations. I never realized how important hugs are. I never realized it. 2 days ago, Wednesday, we went out for the first time during the pandemic because I had major health issues. Someone mentioned health issues. My brain is in my neck. I have 8 diseases in my body and, you know, blind, paralyzed. I went through all that. I went out for the first day. We walked up on the parking lot and some stranger walked past me. I thought she was a hug dealer. Hug dealers are volunteers. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you was a hug dealer. This lady, I never seen a day in my life, turned around and said, I need a hug so bad. And I said, huh? He said, I need a hug so bad. And she started to cry. I said, listen, I'm going to pretend we don't have this virus going on. Give me a hug. I held this lady and she cried on my shoulder. And she said, I'm going through so much right now. I need a hug. We stood on the corner. If you're familiar with Baltimore, we stood on the corner of Falls Road in Cold Spring, right at Western High School. And we blew the horn. We gave virtual hugs out on that corner. 17 hug dealers showed up. So many horns was blowing, so many smiles, so many people of all colors and ages blew horns, gave us smiles. Afterwards, a hug dealer came to me and said, thank you. I am struggling with loneliness. Another hug dealer came to me and said, and this person works. She works. She's a good person. She's not on drugs. She's never been on drugs, and said, I'm actually homeless. So you never know what a hug means to people. This world is hurting right now. We're hurting with crime. We're hurting with drugs. We're hurting with this pandemic. So many people, as we speak, my mother-in-law lost her life. Her funeral is tomorrow. Since this pandemic, I'm dealing with at least 15 people who lost their life. It's enough is enough. We need hugs in this world. I do not believe in this crime that's going on. Burning down the police station, burning down the homes, no different than a Freddie Gray situation, I think is the most foolish thing in the world. Because guess what? You burnt down these buildings, but the people who work daily is the ones who gotta rebuild it through their taxes. I understand we need to make a point, but the innocent people like you and I are the ones who's going to have to pay for this situation. The ones that's burning down these houses and y'all cheering them on is the ones who's going to be in jail waiting for you to send them oodles and noodles and tuna fish, and you're going to forget all about them. We have to stop it. If we're going to make a situation with this, I agree. Do not spend $1 on July the 7th. Take off of work if you have to. I agree with that. Burning down these buildings and commit crime on crime is not going to stop the crime. Unfortunately, we have a president who's allowing this to happen. He is allowing this to happen. It starts from the head. And we have to stop this. There's no way in the world this president is still in office during all this situation. Someone mentioned faith. Dealing with homelessness. I was homeless. Someone mentioned rape. I was raped 3 times before I was 15 years old. And it all comes from self-love. Love yourself. I never told anyone until like 5 years ago because I blamed myself. Maybe it was me. Maybe because the way I dress. Maybe because the way I'm shaped. We need to start telling people what we're going through because what we're going through is going to help the next person. We talk about faith all the time. I only say thank you. I no longer pray, nor do I go to church. I never say I no longer believe in God. People say, why you only say thank you? Because dealing with 8 diseases in my body, 7 doctors told me there's nothing more they could do with me. But yet I am not only working one job, but I still have 2 businesses and run an organization and just stop my radio station. What more is it I could say to God but thank you? So
I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Val Jenkins, Queen, for sharing what you just shared about your own experience with regard to sexual assault. You know, sharing what you just shared with regard to, you know, the challenges you overcame, you know, to be blind and to be in a state where you can't move and all of the various things that you dealt with, but you still find a way to stand up on a corner and organize 18 hug dealers. I want to understand people. I want people to understand something. Please write this down. There are power in words. Words have power. The reason why they're so powerful is because they come from our God cells. They come from the inside. They come from the being that is the energy that is projected, which projects into the universe. And so when you use the term hug dealer, you pushing love, you pushing hug, you pushing goodness, you pushing, and so whatever it is, you know, people don't have to say what I say. I say peace and love because I went to Jamaica with some Rastas at 12 years old. And I've been saying peace and love ever since. That's where that came from, you know, but I don't say H-E-L-L-O because I'm pushing to create a new heaven here on earth, not a H-E-L-L, which we are already experiencing and witnessing right now. So I use the word peace and love, but hugs, that's right, hug dealers, that's so powerful. So I want us to be able to create your own space. Now is the time to create your own energy, your own idea, your own authentic self. Whatever it is, Queen Marshall, she's got a button company that helps people create buttons and messages. So I can't wait. I can wait. I use positive words. I'm waiting to get my buttons that say peace in the morning. They get my buttons that say peace and love. They get my buttons that say we push peace, we don't push drugs, right? So whatever it is that we putting out there, all of those things we can push. And so Val, Queen Val, I appreciate the work that you're doing. Thank you for supporting the Peace in the Morning show. Thank you for coming on here and lighting it up and making sure we get a puff off of that hug that you just gave us. I'm not a comedian, but we got him on the show. We're gonna take a brief break, and when we come back with DJ Five-Star, we're gonna let that comedian Laughing Lenny get on the mic and tell him what he like, because Laughing Lenny is hot, 1800 with no chaser, he is mad. Oh, right. Yeah, I know him now. He's mad as a, and then we got Alfonso Pardon, who may be joining us as well. Talk about self-love as well, but this is the day that we wanted to focus on Queen. And I keep seeing and hearing these sisters talk about how they were sexually abused. And I want to say this, you know, as a man, I went online, and there's a survey that you can take, a test, a self-evaluation to ask yourself as a man, am I an abuser? Am I an emotional abuser? Am I a physical abuser? Am I an abuser? Because I wanted to know if there's something in me that is doing this. You know, thank God, that God is my witness, and there's nobody that can come forth truthfully and say that I have ever sexually assaulted them. Thank God. I thank God for that. But I also understand that hurt people hurt people. A lot of these people that are sexually assaulting, somebody touched them. That's where they got it from.
Can I chime in real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
I told one person in this world who raped me, the first person raped me. And that one person told me, oh, he's in jail because he killed someone who raped his sister. But while he was in jail, he got raped. My slogan now is, who raped the rapist?
That's what I'm talking about. Oh my God. See, we will have a show. And the reason why this is so important is because we live I want us to understand the dynamic of how all this, Dr. Maya talked about how all this ties together. We live in a world that is a rape culture. Understand that you have an entire religion in the Vatican Catholic Church whose religion is based on rape. Anytime you allow rape to take place all over the world for centuries, not only rape of boys, but girls and the nuns, those in service, and you hide it and you protect it and you promote people from being a priest at one church to all the way up to being a cardinal, then to a bishop and a pope. Knowing that these people have been a part of this culture and have allowed it and excused it, and knowing what that does to the mind. And we supported it. And guess what? Nobody is shutting it down. Pennsylvania is the first state in America to go after the Archdiocese of Pennsylvania for the sexual assaults that they did. And that happened in every state of the United States of America. But we didn't shut that down. We didn't shut businesses down for that. We didn't go out and make sure that people, all the victims that have been victimized, and understand this, the people who are in office that are making these horrendous decisions and making these horrendous statements, don't you think that they're behaving like rapists? That rape mentality goes into leadership because there's no separation. So I appreciate you sharing that. That is so powerful. Who raped the rapist? This is Darius A. Stanton with the Peace in the Morning Show. Share this show. Let people hear it. But guess what? Who's supposed to hear it will hear it. That's it. Right. Might be 1,000, might be 1,000,000. But whoever's supposed to hear it is going to hear it. One thing for sure, you see this group of people right here, we're going to be hugging, we're going to be loving, we're going to be pushing, and we're going to be laughing because that's who we are as a people. When we come back, we're going to hear from, when we come forward, we're going to come to our brother, Laughing Lenny, 1800. Yes, sir. Hey, DJ 5-Star. Queen Val, thank you so much. You want to give us some fine words? You got to
Need a radical change.
I can't hear you.
Not the same.
You got it? You good?
I didn't hear what you said.
I just said we're going to rap with you, but I just want to make sure, you know, you good because I know you got a role, and we appreciate you joining us in the midst of all that you got going on.
I am good. I will be listening to the rest of the show, but I will be on mute. One thing I ask each person to do is not only hug your neighbors, your family members, look in the mirror, and sometimes you have to hug yourself. But most of all, the next time you see a person who did you wrong, stop them and give them a hug. Because sometimes, just like Darius said, hurt people hurt. And sometimes people hurt you and don't even mean it.
That's true. That's true.
There we go. Yes, ma'am. We will work to that. You heard it. Give those people who hurt us a hug. All right. It take a lot to do it, and we're gonna do it. Put your left hand in, put your right arm out, squeeze them, Billy, and choke them out. No, I gotta get y'all ready for Laughing Lenny. All right, here we go. Thank you so much, Val. Turn it over to my brother 5-Star. He was already cranking. 5, you got it, partner.
Radical change. Not just any change, but a you need change. You need a radical change. Not just any change, but a radical change. You need change. You need a radical change. Not just any change.
That's right, we need a radical change in this country. Radical change in this country. That's thank you, DJ 5-Star, the founder and creator of Math Through Music. We appreciate you, brother. And at this time, we will bring on our good brother. We started a new segment here on the Peace in the Morning show. It's called Peace and Laugh in the Morning with our good brother, Laughing Lenny. Been on Def Comedy Jam, Puff Daddy's Comedy Special, Apollo, you name it, he's been there, but he's right out of Southeast, or better still, Southeast DC, our very own Laughing Lenny. Hey, brother, I know you've been fired up, man, after you watched what happened to our brother this past Monday, and you see what's going on right now. We got a president ignorant as all outdoors, you know, for making that statement. But he's showing his true colors, you know, and people got to understand, we needed for America to show its true colors. You know, it basically gives you a sense that 50% of America is still living in a space and be very fine with us being still enslaved as people. You know, it's obvious, because if you got somebody that's willing to share that, but what they don't understand is that same 50%, he doesn't love them either. But I'm not gonna get in it because it's not about him right now. It's about our good brother Laughing Lenny and our queens. Talk to us, brother. What's happening, Laughing Lenny?
What's up, baby boy?
You got it, partner.
Hey, first of all, this is what I want to say. I'm not only gonna need one hug, I'm gonna need a group hug from everybody on the show. Because what I'm about to say, I'm gonna keep it 1800 with no chasing. Now, this is what I have to say. I want everybody to listen to me. We all a creation of God, but not a child of God. So I want to say that. And first, we gotta love ourselves before anybody else gonna love us. Now, and the only way we're gonna stop all this killing, you know, burning stuff down, that was crazy. But the only way you're gonna stop this killing, you got to hit them in their pocket. You got to hit them in their pocket. This is what you got to do. Whenever a white police officer or white person kills a black person, give them life, not numbers. See, because if you get numbers, you're going to get out of jail. But if I give you letters, L-I-F-E, life, that means you're going to die in prison. Give them life and take their life savings, everything that they own, and give it to the family members that you killed. That's the only way you're going to stop it. That is the only way you are going to stop this. That's the only way you're going to stop it. And I'm going to say this here. We have got to stop black on black crime. We got to stop it, man. There is a woman named Samore out of Jersey. Her son, somebody took his cell phone, so he took another kid's cell phone. They all went to court. Now listen to me now, y'all. This boy never sold no drugs, never committed a crime, never killed nobody. Nobody. He goes to court. The judge gives him 20 years plus 527 years in prison. And this is what she's fighting for right now, to get her son out. So what I'm saying, as black people, man, you know what? We got to come together, start our own real estate, start our own bank. You know what? Open up our own grocery store, our own clothing stores. We had a Black Wall Street back in the day. We got to come together. We got to come together. We got to come together. And while they doing all this killing, people don't, you got to think. You got to think. They are killing us off because any black man that they outside his race, any ounce of black blood, any ounce of black blood, that means you are black. So anybody that I sleep with outside my race, any ounce of black blood in your body, you are black. On your driving license, it don't say mix. It says black, white, Spanish, Puerto Rican, whatever. But I'm telling you, you are black. Once our blood hits yours, mixed with yours, you are black. And all this started with the government back in the day. The Willie Lynch story. Government, welfare. I will support and take care of your family as long as the black man don't be in your house. So as long as you keep that black man out your house, I will take care of you and your family. So guess what? If you have no strong king in the house, no king in the house, how can he sit down and talk to you about right from wrong? Yes, he lives somewhere else. But okay, if your son do something wrong, his father lived all the way across town. He cannot live in the house with you. So by the time he get across town, see, back then, we didn't have cell phones. So back then, by the time you get there and call him and he get over there, it's then escalate to something stronger. So now, what are they doing? So now we got the cell phone, and you got young men and grown men. These grown men got to stop acting like 18-year-old kids. You in your 50s and your 60s. Why are you going with your son to go fight somebody else? Why? You supposed to sit him down and teach him right from wrong. Until you teach right from wrong, this is going to keep happening. Black on black crime is going to keep on happening. They're going to keep killing us. You know why? Because we killing ourselves. But it still don't justify of them killing us. But we got to come together as one to stop all of this. Until if we don't come together, this is just the beginning. When you got a president saying it's okay for what they're doing to us, no, it's not okay. And you know what? Stop spending your money. If we stop spending our money at the liquor stores in the black neighborhood, don't go to them. The McDonald's on every corner in the black neighborhood, stop spending your money there. Burger King, Wendy's, stop it. Stop it. Don't spend your money. I'm telling you, you got to hit them in their pocket. The only way you're going to stop something is you hit them in their pocket and you take everything that they got, everything that they work for, and you give it to the family members that they killed. That's the only way you're going to stop it. And let me tell you something right now. If I take everything that you got and give it to the person, family that you killed, and then give you life, you would think about it. You would think about it the next time you do something. You will think about it.
Well, that's the key. That's the key right there. You hit it on the head because there's no consequence. And the president right now. Let me tell you what the president doing. Let me tell you what white people doing. They are sitting home, watching the news, watch us destroy our own stuff. What sense does that make? They are sitting, they're laughing. They're laughing. You know what they're saying? Look at those fools destroying their own stuff. See, let me tell you something. It's laughing now. You know when the laughing stop? When I come into your neighborhood. When I start marching in front of the house, in front of your house. When you start marching in front of my house and I'm a judge, I'm the president, you're marching in front of my house, things change. When you start riding and burning up stuff on my block, things change. When you start doing stuff like that, it changes. But as long as you do it in your neighborhood, it's not a problem. When you come to my neighborhood, then it's a problem. Let me give you an example of what's happening.
Our own.
That's right.
We got to stop it. Black people, we got to come together, stop spending money in these places that these people do not like us. We got to stop it. Basketball. Why we can't get together all these Afro-Americans with all this money? Why we can't come up with our own league? Football players, why we can't come up with our own league? Don't y'all know, black people, we are entertainers. We are entertainers. We spend billions and billions of dollars every year just into entertainment. Come on, man.
But you know what, Lenny, you said something though that really, really kind of, you hit a few chords. One chord you hit was on the blood infusion, and Dr. Mayat is going to share some information on that. She has a different perspective on that. But what you did say that we all agree on is, you know, you think about what we have in the black communities, in the liquor stores, in the carryouts, you know, and where do you see in the fast food stores, you know, in Air Jordans, you know, Foot Locker, Nike, you know, in any of these instances, where do you see these people?
I don't mean to cut you off, but let me say this right quick. We out here buying Jordans. We out here online spending money on clothes, tennis shoes. But I want y'all to listen to what I gotta say here. Go online, go on some of these white people Facebooks and Instagram. You know what they doing? They're buying guns. They're buying bullets. They got target practice every morning. They wake up. They wake up and go to target practice. They wake up and go in their backyard, shoot their guns, teach their kids how to shoot their guns. They're buying weapons and bullets. There are no guns and bullets in the gun stores because they got them all. They are protecting themselves and they getting ready for something that we are not doing. What we're doing, we're not thinking. We're not thinking. And so what we got to do as Black people, man, you got to keep having this show. Man, I'm going to tell you something right now. What we're doing right now, if we got 500, 600, 800 views, okay? People are listening, but they're not going to really start listening until we get to the millions and 2 million and 3 million. Then they're going to start listening to us. And once they start listening to us and you getting this across, watch what happens. Watch what happens.
Let me tell you something.
Everybody gonna want to get on the bandwagon then. And these so-called Black leaders, where you at? Black leaders, where you at? I challenge all the Black leaders. Get on this show right here and tell us what you gonna do about this. Because talking with them $2,000 suits on and driving these Bentleys and these Rolls Royce and these limos, bro, that ain't doing nothing for the Black community. Nothing. Get on this show and challenge us. Tell us what you're going to do about it. Tell us.
Hey, brother. Hey, first of all, we appreciate the vote of confidence, but I'm going to tell you what you said. And speaking that million views into existence, because if 1 million people hear it, that means that there's going to be 10 million. That means it's going to be 100 people. But
yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
You know, this is action-based. We want to take action, right? And we want to be consistent. And what you said, which was so powerful, and I want us to understand something. We need to be able to protect ourselves, but the key way that we protect ourselves is through loving ourselves, because we have something on the inside that is so great and so powerful. We have something that really controls the way that the universe moves, because when we stay in the flow of the universe, then we allow ourselves to be in alignment. See, my mother has a song called Unmatched Provider, which is Earth. So I want you to pay attention to something right now. I want you to pay attention to the hurricanes, the cyclones. I want you to pay attention to the earthquakes, the tsunamis. I want you to see what's happening, what the earth is doing, how the earth is moving in the midst of all of this COVID-19. I want you to pay attention to that. I want you to pay attention to what you talked about, what Dr. Maya talked about, and that's what we're eating and what we're feeding our bodies. And understand, we can't keep going along with my grandmother ate chitlins, so it's okay for me to eat chitlins. My grandmother ate hog maw, so whatever else is killing us. COVID-19 is killing us. I got a very good friend. COVID-19, you heard how much Black people are dying disproportionately. Let me just put a precursor on that. Based on the numbers, you don't know what the numbers really are because they're not challenging the statistics as it applies to those people who are being labeled with COVID-19 who've never been tested, but because they had symptoms to it, right? Park that for a minute. But the fact that we know that we have poor health because we have high blood pressure, sugar, diabetes, yet we still continue. And the first thing the church does, not all, but one that this particular friend of mine's church does, they go out and they have a barbecue. They sell pork ribs, beef ribs, and all of that. It's the very thing that's killing us because our health is so poor. So if you want to prevent, this is a good brother out of District of Columbia, if you want to prevent COVID, it's your nutrition. It's what you're eating. It's making sure that you're taking ginger and turmeric and sea moss and moringa seeds and putting things in the body that is sun chlorella, that's giving oxygen to the body, oxygen to the blood, oxygen to the brain, things that are helping us get to that next level on a physical state, which allows us to get to a next level on a spiritual state. So we got to stop spending our money with people that you don't see anything. If you see a lab that the Chinese food store put together in your local elementary school, when they're making all that money off the liquor store or the carry out, do you see a library that's been built or added to our communities by these folks? Nike, Jordan, do you see anything outside of basketball courts being built? And I don't even see a whole lot of those in our communities. If so, why keep spending our dollars with people who are benefiting off of our demise? So I appreciate you laughing, Lenny, because you struck the chord on a whole bunch of notes, and we need to have them chords struck. Dr. Mayat, I know you wanted to share something with regard to the blood. We're going to circle on around, and Alphonse Pearson had to leave us, but we'll hopefully get him back another day. But we definitely got some folks out there who are chiming in on Facebook, who are talking about this, who are sharing the show and getting the message out there, because we got to wake up. And obviously, we're waking up. And we're going to keep doing what we're doing. And Marshall, and we connected, and we're going to get them buttons. And Laughing Lenny going to keep doing what he's doing, working with them young brothers. As soon as we get a chance to bring them together, he's got a program that's coaching, life coaching for young brothers, so they know not to go out into that street, but to come work on whatever craft you have, whatever passion you have. Dr. Mayat, talk to us about the blood, and then talk to us about your animation, because I want us to shift gears so we understand the power of imagery and understand how that animation, I love that. You know, so Brother Jeremy Newkirk, he was watching this a few minutes ago, who's created something called Cover 360 and Go Virtual Green, basically creating an internet which is a safe space with music, entertainment, movies, education, information, but it's all green being clean. So Dr. Mayat, share with us, you know, what your perspective on the blood, but also, you know, tell us about the animation and the project you're working on to help us grow. See, one of the things about the Peace in the Morning show, we don't, that's not about fact checking. We check each other with research, information, and we enlighten each other. You know, it's not we bring information, baby. This is the Peace in the Morning show. How about that, Queen Marshall?
That's right. That's right.
All right,
Dr. Mayat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Brother Darius, I was listening to the brother, and he was definitely on point with, I'm gonna say 99% of what he said. I support 99% of what the brother said, but it was one thing that he said, and I typed in the chat like, I don't quite agree with that. He was saying if you have one drop of blood, you're black, and I feel like that mentality has gotten us in a lot of trouble. That mentality actually came from the one drop rule, and some folks who will buy their computers, you can Google the one drop rule. So it was actually white folks who said, if that person has one drop of blood, you know, black blood in them, they're black. So that was the one drop rule. And then we also, many of us come from a Christian background, and in the Bible, it tells us that you are the pedigree of your father. And so it discounted, you know, the mother side. So if your father was black, you know, you're black, you know, according to that philosophy. But we live in an age of information. We live in an age of genetics. And we know that you get 23 chromosomes from your father and 23 chromosomes from your mother. So if you are a black person who has, produced a baby with a non-black person, you can't just discount their ancestry and say socially, you know, if this person is black, that means you're black. No, this person is biracial. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with biracial people saying that they are biracial. In fact, I've spoken to many biracial people who said that they hate being placed in a box. It's kind of like I have to choose one side or the other instead of embracing both sides of my ancestry. And that is, if you are European, if your mom is European and your father is, of African descent, then you're biracial. And biracial people are just that. And so what happens is black people, because we are all inclusive people, if your mama black or your daddy's black, you're black. But then when these biracials don't operate in the best interest of black people, we call it self-hate or we call it something else. And we're surprised because we have embraced them and have surrounded them. At the end of the day, biracial people are just that, they're biracial. And so
Dr. Mayat, let me ask this, please. And from a genetic perspective, the the dominant gene, when you spoke about the 23 chromosomes of the black and the 23 chromosomes of, you know, white, if that was the mix, the biracial mix of the parents, how does that recessive versus dominant gene come into play with regard to that?
I'm glad you asked that question, brother. I'm glad you asked that question because in the black community, it's a whole myth out there. Oh, it's black, it's dominant. Black is dominant. Do you know that there's some people, I've seen couples where a black woman has had babies with a European male and the children come out and they look European. Okay? It happens. You can't, genetics is not, when you think of dominant genes versus recessive genes, you can't just say that because you are an African person that your genes are dominant. That's not the way genetics works. It just depends. It depends. Again, when you inherit your chromosomes from your mom and you inherit the chromosomes from your father, your genes are being mixed up all together. So some genes in your mom may be more dominant than the genes from your father. Some genes in your father may be more dominant than the genes of your parents. So I think that if we have I think that in order to understand this, we really need to get rid of the pseudoscience that plagues the black community. There's a lot of pseudoscience that plagues the black community. Like, for example, people running around here when the coronavirus first hit, you had black folks who were literally saying that we can't catch the coronavirus because of our melanin, because melanin has superpowers. People don't even understand that there's melanin in all living organisms. And black and white folks have melanin too. I know you might be shocked when you say that, oh, Dr. Mahat, but look it up. There are different types of melanin. You have pheomelanin and eumelanin, and black and brown people have a type of melanin called eumelanin, EU-melanin. They had white people, European people have a type of melanin called pheomelanin. PHEO melanin. So for us to walk, so it's been a myth in the black community for years that white people don't have any melanin, and that's not true. And so anyway, that's a part of pseudoscience that's in the black community to say, oh, because I'm black, my genes are just going to automatically dominate this European person's genes or this Asian person's genes or this non-black person's genes. That's a myth, and that's not the way genetics works.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. We'll definitely come back. That sounds like a great topic for another show. But I wanted to bring it out because it's important that we share information. If you're not checking each other, if we're not testing each other, if we're not pushing back. I just finished teaching class at Anne Arundel Community College, Intro to Sociology, and I told my class the very first day, I said, listen, anything that I say, I want you not only to fact check it, but I want you to challenge me when you find I say something that was all face. And one day I said something and the student said, Professor, I just wanted to say, you just finished saying boom, boom, boom. And she checked me on it and I was wrong. And I said, hey, that's what we need.
Absolutely.
We need, and that's why Queens are in the position that we're in. We need people to support each other and to pull each other up and help each other and be able to dig deeper and find more information. So I want to now shift gears. Thank you, my brother, for sharing that. Laughing Lenny, thanks for being the peace and the laugh, for keeping us moving, for keeping us grooving, and understanding we got to take care of ourselves and we got to spend money on ourselves and hold our dollar. Remember our hashtag for the day, hashtag be bold for good. Run to be bold for good. See, the thing about the reason why the negative forces are ruling and running right now is because the people who are negative, they're working on it 24/365. Just like you said, Laughing Lynn, they're going to buy all the guns, all the bullets for fear, for scare, whatever it is, right? But instead of that, we need to be running 24/365 for being bold for good, for running out and helping people, for running out and reading, teaching people, feeding people, loving people. Hugs don't shoot. We got to push love. We got to be bold with love. 24/365. And a program and a project that our queen, Dr. Mahat, you heard some of the music that she created as well. And she's teaching her own sons, but she brought it outside of the household and put it in the community. Tell us about the animation and the project you had that's really bringing children to life through animation and cartoons, please. Because we need this more than ever. I wish all our education people we're going to do another show on this topic.
Beautiful, beautiful. So back in 2013, at the time, my youngest was 3 years. He was 3 years old, and we were searching for animations that taught Black history, culture, and achievements from a Black perspective. And so at that time, we came across one cartoon or one animation called "Tell Me Who I Am," which was produced by Kid Positive in 1998. And so there wasn't there wasn't many, it wasn't a lot of animated films on the market that was available for parents like myself who wanted to teach our babies, about us, And so that was in 2013. And so the end of 2013, I got my family together and I said, I would love for us to produce an animated series that focuses on African history, culture, and achievements. And my family thought that I lost my mind. They said, well, wait a minute, you are an electrical engineer. What do you know about producing a cartoon? And so I said, well, you know what? One thing that engineering taught us, and DJ 5 Star, I know you can relate. One thing engineering taught us, it taught us how to think. Engineering teaches you how to think and how to think critically. And so, and you can apply those skills to any area you choose. And so I said, if I can figure out engineering, surely I can figure out how to create an animation. So at the top of 2014, we began to develop our characters, to develop a plot, to reach out to cartoonists, to form a team of animators. And by the fall of 2014, as a matter of fact, on October the 14th, 2014, we released Meltrek, episode 1, Exploring Ancient Africa. In 2017, we released Meltrek episode 2, Exploring the Pre-Columbian Americas. And in August of this year, we will be releasing Meltrek episode 3, Exploring the Ma'afa part 1, The Arrival of the Portuguese. Okay. And so the whole objective of the Meltrek program is to first of all, transform the self-perception of our babies. I want our babies to know that we're not just entertainers, okay? That our ancestors contributed greatly to the area of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. We are the mothers and fathers of humanity. Life began. We talk about the Garden of Eden. Well, the Garden of Eden was in Africa. That's where they found the oldest bones of man. And you learn that. Your child will learn that in Meltrek episode 1. They will learn that the origin of human life is in Africa. They will learn that Africans contributed greatly to the advancement of civilization. They'll learn that we had civilizations, thriving civilizations with Black kings and queens, and they'll learn the names of these Black kings and queens. And so the objective for Meltrek, the objective of Meltrek episode 1 is to teach our babies that our history does not begin with slavery. And that's what the American system wants you to believe. They want you to believe that our history begins in the 1400s with the Portuguese. Well, what happened in Africa prior to the 1400s? What was that like? And that was the Ma'at. And that's what I talked to you about earlier today. That was the Ma'at. So before the Ma'afa came the Ma'at. And so you learn about that. In Meltrek episode 2, we bring you to America to learn what I call real U.S. history. Accurate U.S. history. So we bring you to America prior to the Spanish coming over, and you learn about the indigenous cultures in the Americas. You learn about the mound builders, the Adena, Hopewell, and Mississippians. Then we take you down into Mesoamerica, where you learn about the Olmecs, Mayans, and Aztecs. And then we take you into South America, where you learn about the Incans. And so you learn that, wait a minute, prior to Columbus coming to America, there were Black and brown cultures, thriving Black and brown cultures right here in North, South, Central, and Mesoamerica. Okay, so what we're trying to do with Meltrek is to do away with the idea of hyperdiffusionism. And hyperdiffusionism is when it is the belief that one race did all things great and no one else did anything else. And so we're trying to do away with hyperdiffusionisms while also teaching our babies that our history doesn't begin with slavery. And what will that do? That should boost the self-esteem of our children. That should strengthen the self-identity of our babies. And that should also increase what I call the achievement motivation. So now, if you notice, when DJ 5 Star played one of the Meltrek songs, the hook said, if they can, we can, but you have to take it back. Learn your history with me through Meltrek. Let your minds evolve. Take pride in who you are and let the world see you stand tall. So trying to motivate our kids to do great things. And that's what the series is about. And like you said, Brother Darius, that begins with self-love. And to love myself, I have to know who I am. And that's what the Meltrek series teaches.
Wow. So we appreciate if you would go. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, we have lit it up about my good brother, my partner in business, my partner in love and support, the president of Black Chamber of Commerce, Brother leadership of 100 Black professional men. Kendrick Tillman, DJ 5 Star, he brought Dr. Ma. He said, I keep fighting. So I said, look, did you get her? Did you get her? You know, I'm pressed, right? Now we know why the brother wanted to get you on the show. And we are so grateful, you know, for you sharing that information.
And I appreciate you brothers having me on the show. I appreciate you brothers allowing me to come on the platform to talk about the project and to give my input on self-love. And I now, you know, he sent me the link a few weeks ago and he was telling me about it, but I'm definitely going to spread the word about the Peace in the Morning show. This is beautiful. What you are doing is beautiful. We need to keep these conversations going, and I'm going to do my part to raise awareness or to bring awareness to your platform.
Thank you so much. And please go, you know, I'll make sure that we include how people can reach you in the Facebook chat, as well as on our all the other social media, Instagram, everything else, so that we can get it. And we're working right now to create a virtual summer camp. And so we want your project to be a part of that virtual summer camp so we can educate our young people, whether they're at summer camp physically or whether or not the parents feel like it's best to keep them home. We want to make sure they're getting that information about self-love. And that self-love goes with the fact that we are the mothers and fathers of civilization, math, and science. And our history doesn't start in slavery. You know, one of the things that's transpired, I'm going to share this video with you all, but there's a brother who talked about, he took us just through the whole history of colonization and how the meeting in 1919, when they decided how they were going to split up Africa. And they took this whole process, and instead of fighting each other in world wars, they decided we're going to just go ahead and conquer. You get Belgium's going to get a piece of this part of Africa. Germany's going to get a part of this. You know, they literally divided, and France is going to get a part of here. And so as a result of that, though, what happened in those colonized nations, their history did not start with the history of Gambia or the history of Ghana. Their history actually in those books and those schools right now is the history of whomever colonized them.
Yep.
So in Africa, they're not even learning about their original selves. They're learning about history through the lens of colonization.
That's a fact.
Is that a fact?
That's a fact, brother. That's a fact. I was just over in Ghana last summer. I took my son to Ghana. We went on this trip that was organized by an organization called Africa for the Africans, a brother named Bomani. And so we went over there and we presented Meltrek to 3 different schools, one school on the outskirts of Accra, another school in Cape Coast, and another school in what they call Garvey Town. That's right on the outsides of Accra. While we were there, we went to 4 cities. But when we were giving this information out, the children were shocked. You know, when we were telling them that African people are the mothers and fathers of civilization, and we were talking about the thriving civilizations, you know, prior to, you know, colonizations, they were just as shocked as our kids are over here, and they're on the continent. So like you said, Brother Darius, they're not being taught their history. And in fact, over at Morgan, I teach a lot of Nigerian students, and they shared with me that they really don't know the history. I knew more about, you know, Yoruba culture and Noki culture than my Nigerian students who came from Nigeria. So like you said, Brother Darius, on the continent, they're not being taught about their history and culture prior to colonization. They're not getting that information at all. And the conference that you were talking about, Brother Darius, is the Berlin Conference that took place in 1884 to 1885. It's also known as the Congo Conference. And that's when, you know, the Europeans were trying to regulate the colonization and trade in Africa. So you're talking about the Berlin Conference, and some people also refer to I know a period in history, they call it the scramble of Africa, the scramble for Africa. That's another era. So you were dead on, Brother Darius. You were dead on.
Thank you so much. And you are absolutely correct. As I looked at my notes, in 1919, they held the Treaty of Versailles, which is when Du Bois asked President Wilson to accompany them, to allow him to go to France and basically create what is now the evolution of Black liberation in Africa, which came from people here in America. So we got to stay connected and tied and educate ourselves. And what you just did and what you spoke to, it was students from Africa that alerted me of the fact that their history books, you know, started where they start. you know, and then when they come here, they're taught not to even really deal with African Americans because their parents don't see us because of the imagery. The same way for years, Tarzan was the image and the Feed the Hungry, where you saw flies going up in black children's noses, but you never see any beachfront. With all the coastal waters that Africa has, you never see any oceanfront when you see Africa, right? And so, you know, these images, and that's why the project that you have is so important, and why we want to make sure that we get that in the chat. So I gotta bring it together and wrap it up. I got real pumped up and fired up. I got all pumped up, ready to go, pumped up, ready to go. Win, win, win. Because we're gonna win. I want us just to understand in the pits, and I'm gonna pass it around. Let us, you know, bring this to a wrap up. Queen Marshall, you've been sitting on here, and we appreciate you topped off at the beginning of the hour out in St. Louis. To all the brothers and sisters in Minnesota, you know, that are dealing with what you're dealing with, you know, understand that our greatest power is our spirit and our dollar, in my opinion. In my opinion, our greatest power is our spirit and our dollar. The information, the knowledge of self will allow us to be able to be who we are freely.
Exactly.
Which will allow that spirit to really transcend. But once we know who we are and we allow ourselves to love ourselves, then we will stop spending our dollar with companies that are paying 30 cents. Our brother Laughing Lenny talks about this all the time. They're paying them 30 cents on a dollar to work 8 to 10 hours a day. And that's what they're getting, 30 cents. So for a week's pay, they're not even getting a minimum wage.
Right.
And they're working that every day because through the Constitution, if you are in prison, you are still deemed a slave. And you've got Starbucks, and you've got Walmart, and you've got Victoria's Secrets, and you have these stores that are benefiting off of prison labor. The question is, if they're benefiting off of prison labor, are they hiring these same people that come out of jail, working for them, to honor them and give them a livable wage so that they can feed their families and don't go back to a life of crime, which is the majority of the reason why people are incarcerated in the first place, is based on poverty. And the majority of people are incarcerated also based on marijuana laws, which we now know is a complete farce because it's now being sold and treated as a medicinal herb, not on the federal level, but through state and local levels. And so as a result of that, we are now understanding the value of that medicinal herb, yet they let liquor stores, which is causing alcohol fetal syndrome and is weakening our immune system, right? So I told about the things that build our immune system. Alcohol destroys it, but they allow liquor stores, with the exception of the state of Pennsylvania, they allow liquor stores to stay open through the entire pandemic. And you wonder why there's gonna be a second outbreak? Because they already know if you let liquor stores run and the liquor's in the system, then the immune system is gonna be low. So when they come back into the general population and interact, our immune system is low. But now we don't have the immune system built up to protect ourselves. Come on, you gotta do your research, people. You gotta learn, you gotta study. Don't just take
And I'd like to add, I would love to add to that. Think about the depression. And when people take that alcohol in their system and they mad and they frustrated, that create more habit in the home. You already got hurt people on top of hurt people. Now they hurting people. The domestic violence calls were so high, and it was causing, like I said, more crime. So we have to add that in there too.
That's right. That's right. But so, Queen, I'm gonna let you wrap it up and give your final statements. Queen Marshall, Marshall, share with us, your perspective on how we can continue to love ourselves and what can we do for the homeless right now?
Well, one thing I have always stressed since I've been on the End Homeless mission is we have to take the pacifier out of the mouth of the homeless problem. We have so many, if you notice how many big companies, corporations, top influencers, everybody want to feed the hungry and the homeless. It's not a food problem. The problem is teaching people how to fish This is why I started that Keychain for Keys campaign and working with people who want to help me, allow me to help them put their brand on these items. These items don't cost that much. It's just more time being spent to create them, which I don't mind doing that, to put it in the hands of anybody who want to partner or collaborate with me. I shared in the box my link to my website, which you can find pretty much everything about me. If you go to the founder page, you can see my documentary, my story called The Day I Almost Went Postal. I know the title's funny, but the story is serious about what I had to do, what I went through taking on the United States Postal Service after a supervisor stuck me in my eye with an E-pen. So that fight led me to the depression and the suicide attempt. And I say to myself, I didn't wake up. My eyes did not get open to what's actually going on in this country until I got stuck in the eye. My eyes became wide open after I got stuck in the eye. And right now we're all getting stuck in the eye and developing 2020 vision to what's going on. We have to wake up. We have to look at the ways that we can use what we have to help each other. I love my community, and I'm doing everything I can to help my community. But I also work with other people that are outside of my community that are willing to work together for a betterment of this world. So we have to focus on the things that we can do to help each other. And I am doing my part. And I want to connect with any and every person who is willing to do their part to make this world a better place. So I started with the comedy because that's what I love. And if you are in there and would like to know more about our online comedy festival and fundraiser that will start June the 9th, I'm looking for entertainers. I'm looking for comedians to come and host. I'm looking for comedians to compete. I have all of the nonprofit organizations that are partnering with me, but I do want to work with more organizations that would like to collaborate or partner. So I'll leave with that. Check me out, do your research on me, and let's connect.
All right. Thank you so much, Queen Marcella, all the way from St. Louis.
Say something?
Yes, sir. You can go comic to comic. Go holler at her, brother.
Yeah, I want to say this to my beautiful sister that correct me. Thank you for correcting me. But off paper, yes, we are mixed. We could talk about mixed all day off paper. But on paper, it's either you black or white. On your driver license,
on paper
black or white. Off paper, yes, we could talk about what we mix with. But when you do that paperwork, it's black or white. It doesn't say mix.
No, brother, I just
or white.
No, that's not true.
Let me
say something.
You for correcting me, my sister. I love it, and I like what you're doing. And I see you got Tony Woods on here. I want to give a shout out to my man Tony. I need like I said, I need a group hug from everybody. And Tony stole my bike when we was 12 years old. And look, him and Black stole my bike. Him and Black stole my bike. And my bike I had a blue Swin. They stole my bike and they painted it black. They talking about, I said, come on, bro, that's still my bike, bro. That's still my bike. So you owe me a bike. So buy me a bike. So I go bike riding with you, Black, and everybody. So I want a bike just like the one you got. Don't be buying me nothing, no cheap bike. So I love y'all. See you next Friday. Hey, listen to me. I like what you're doing, my sister. I love to get in with it. And also everybody that's in Philly, New York, Jersey, support my girl, Samore. I forgot her last name, but Samore, she is the son, very young. He's incarcerated, been incarcerated for a long time now. And like I said, over a cell phone. He didn't sell no drugs, commit no murder over a cell phone. The judge gave him 20 years plus 527 years over a cell phone. So people, if you in that area, get in contact with her, support her. We need to bring her son home. So
thank you, brother. Man, we appreciate you, Laughing Lenny. We'll see you next week for the Peace and Laugh in the morning. That's right. That's right. And we're gonna have that come. We're gonna definitely bring you back. Bring our sister, Dr. Mayat, back, and some other folks who we can talk about. There's a brother pastor in Maryland who wrote a book about the okie doke. Don't fall for the okie doke. Reverend Stephen Tillett. And in that book, he talks about there's only less than 1% difference between us in terms of our skin type and our race, which is, his premise that we are 99% all the same with the exception of less than 1%.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. Okay, there you go. You heard the sister say that's a fact. So we're going to have that conversation. But I want to come back to the sister that started this off and talked about self-love and shared the fact, the challenge that she had with suicide and understood the pain. And she came on to step in for somebody who was not able to be with us. Sister Pam Curtis out of Baltimore, Maryland, who works with foster children in the city of Baltimore and a host of other things. But our sister Queen Nicole Black, thank you for being with us for this entire program. We've gone on and we're almost at 2 hours now, not on purpose, but we need to make sure that our people who gets the information are there. Thank you, my brother Firestar, for rolling with me. But Queen, you've heard a lot, you took in a lot. Today is about loving ourselves. So give the sisters something to be able to love themselves on. I'm gonna ask people right now to share this moment because I know our Queen is gonna talk to you about why self-love is so important and why you need to make sure you put yourself in front so that your children can see you put yourself in front and not to bring somebody else into your situation and allow them to be seen as getting your love and attention above and beyond their children and themselves.
Absolutely. First, let me just say thank you. I got so much knowledge today. I got so much information. This past year, I just found out that my mom is, I knew that I was born Black and beautiful. And, growing up, I always was taught, you're too short, you're too dark. I never forget when I was a little girl, my grandmother can nearly pass by white. She's on my mom's side is European. I have no idea who my father is. So I don't know my history on my father's side, but I remember as a little girl, I had a commercial. I had to go for a Barbie commercial. First time. And the lady said to my grandmother, she said, can I talk to you for a second? She said, first and foremost, she's too dark. She's too dark. We're more, we don't want her necessarily, but we can use her in the background. But she's too dark. And she told her, my grandmother, who nearly looked white, who was Black, said to her, now let me speak. She said, she is beautiful and I will be damned if you talk about my granddaughter like that. I wish I had her color. I wish I had her color. So I say that to say, as a Black queen, as a Black woman who had to deal with at such a young age, thinking that my skin color was a problem, I now find it beautiful. I now tell my daughter who says, Mommy, my forehead is so big. I said, you wear that forehead, honey, because it's your crown. It's your knowledge. It is who I created. God created us to be an example to people. God created us to be a platform. And I want to speak on I Am 4'11". God gave me this in a dream. I am 4'11". And then he allowed me to see, yes, you are 4'11". That is my actual height. I am a world of information. And I'm here to give out a world of information to people. But also in this conversation today, I heard God. I heard all the information I needed to hear. I heard about my culture. I heard about what I need to eat, what I need to wear, how I need to speak, what I need to put my money into, and who I need to put my money into. I got a wake-up call today. I was not expecting to be on this call, but God said, I need you on this call because I need you woke. So thank you. Thank you to the sisters that have come on. I needed a hug last month. I said, I haven't touched anybody in a month or so. And the fact that that lady said I needed a hug spoke volumes, because we all need hugs. We all need laughter. We all need comedians to keep us laughing because we go through so much in society that we forget that our laughter is what keeps us alive. Our laughter is what keeps us going. Our laughter is what keeps us in tune with, you know what, I'm alive and I'm okay. So brother, thank you for being the platform of what we need as women, as queens, because we must be doing something right. We have birthed kings. We have birthed the next generation, and we're teaching our children that it is okay to love your skin. It is okay to be strong. It is okay to say, I am weak and I need a hug. It is okay. So to my sisters, to my queens, to my doctors, to everybody out there, know that you are not alone. Know that you don't have to be in a domestic violence relationship anymore. Know that there are people out there that are here to help you. Know that there are suicide hotlines that you can call because you're not alone. And I appreciate the fact that you have allowed me to be able to sit here and get informative information that I needed to give back to myself. And to that, I say, I love you. I love me. I love who we are. And I love what God has created. Because in the word, as they say, God doesn't make any mistakes. And I am not a mistake, and neither are you. So wear your crown high, my queens, my sisters, and know that you are raising the next generations of queens. You are raising the next generation of kings. And it is up to you to do what is right. Keep your body healthy, keep your body well, and keep us informed, because without knowledge, we don't have any power. But we have power in our knowledge through our words. So thank you, brother.
All right.
Wow. Amen.
With her saying that, I want to say this. Please encourage anyone that has a negative frame of mind to chase a dream. Chase a dream. That dream will lead you to your purpose. It will create happiness for yourself. You will have self-love. When you're chasing that dream, that is power. You will gain knowledge. I can't express that any more than I have. Anybody. I mean, I run into the thugs in the streets. I say, what's your dream? What do you want to do?
Thank you so much, Queen Michelle. Thank you, Queen Nicole Black, for your love and your energy and your testimony. And I got our sister Val. She came back. You know, she working with us. You know, on the MIT. I made that up. But Queen Val, hugs don't shoot. I'm gonna give you an opportunity for the peaceful moment as we wrap up on the Peace in the Morning show. Take it away, sister. Look like you over there skate.
Honey, listen, I had to get up from my desk and take a walk because I thought I was in church that I haven't been into in 4 years. Lord, I was about to pass the offering basket. Like, Lord, this whole panel. So what I want to say is my conversation yesterday with my best friend, who he and I get along so well, until it come to racism. I refuse to talk about racism because we need to learn to love others and not the ones that just look like us. He said, Val, you are so blind to racism. I said, remember, I used to be blind and I am now legally blind, but I always had a vision of peace. So no matter what the people around you say, stick with what you say. Believe in what you feel. And if you're the only one there who walk around wearing 428, which is my birthday, believe in you, because you don't believe in you, you can't believe in no one else. So in that word, close your eyes and vision peace. And this world one day will be peaceful.
That's powerful. Whew, thank you, Queen. Thank you so much. Hugs don't shoot. Please support them. You heard us say that they do that out of the pocket. You know, they spending that money to do what they do.
No, not they, me. Me.
So we're gonna work to take care of that too. But that was so powerful. I want us to understand the power of meditation. And Queen, I see you want to share something with us, but go ahead and respond to that, Nicole.
No, I was just going to say I've been meditating, and he knows I've been meditating, and it's just a center. It's a center. It's bringing things back into alignment. It's getting connected to what, the universe is trying to tell you. And I like what you said earlier, brother. There is a shift in the atmosphere. There is a lot going on, and we're watching it on live television. We're watching so many people dying. It's not just brutally. It's more in home. I mean, my aunt just pretty much died from the COVID-19. So I understand that we have to get centered. We have to get back into alignment and just recenter ourselves, because you don't know how we are going to help others. So we have to understand that once we center ourselves and get into alignment, feel our energy, feel our aura, feel what's going on around us, so that when we be able to get in contact with one another, we can feel another person's aura. We can feel their energy. We know when they will need a hug. Mm-hmm. We know when they will need some money in their pocket because they can't, especially our young people. They're not going to tell you, I need some money, just eat. Their pride is too strong. So you got to be able to know that my pockets need to be full so I can be able to give to you. Because at the end of the day, if I'm not in alignment, and if I'm not centering myself, if I'm not loving myself, how can I love you? How can I? So we have to be able to look within ourselves. So it starts at home first. And our home is our center, is our energy, is our aura. What are we putting into us so that we can transcend out, so that we can eventually get it back? So at the end of the day, center yourself, meditate, pray, eat the right foods, do whatever it takes for you to get healthy so that you can be able to be a blessing to somebody else.
I learned we must learn to give from our cup, our overflow, and not our cup.
Come on.
We gotta take care of ourselves first. And we are wounded healers in human service. I learned from Dr. Vanita Weems of Vanderbilt University, who I believe is the chair of theology there. Dr. Vanita Weems, 30 years ago, 29 years ago, was at a conference, and she shared wounded healer was the concept. And it was just about us all. And we heard so much pain that has transpired, but people have freed themselves. And it's obvious that you sisters have taken the time and done the work and been blessed to free yourselves from what was such. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you sharing, your own personal experiences, as well as what have you seen and witnessed and transpired with other people. But when I heard Dr. Mayat say that 9 out of 10 of the women, we brought, queens on the show to be able to do exactly what you all did. And so anybody who's watched this show, I want you to find every group, every chat, everywhere you can, every possible means to be able to share this, because there's so many women who have been through that, and men that have not been able to release that pain and not been able to move on in their lives as a result. They might have all the other things, but on the inside, and they're raising children with that pain. And so I really want people to understand the value of this, to be able to release that and to be able to see sisters who have been able to do so much, as a result of that. And so I appreciate you, Queen Nicole. Dr. Mayat, I am going to, if you so choose, give you a moment to share on the peaceful moment, and we're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna give 5-star. Matter of fact, 5-star while you're over there, man. You said it, brother. Hey, I love the fact that I'm with winners. This brother said, man, I got a sister, man. She gotta be on the show.
You sound just like him.
I'm already pumped up anyway, right? So when I get somebody to pump up with me, that's just like, if we was on a team together on the court, we would just be like, whoa, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, Brother Darius. But what was the brother name? You called him the Laughing,
Laughing Lenny, the comic.
Laughing Lenny. And Laughing Lenny, I'm looking forward to debating that brother, because you said we're going to have a discussion. But I know he and I are going to have a nice intellectual spar on that whole concept, because he left out, he gave a little bit. And like I said, I agree with 99% of what he said. But that 1% before he left out the door, he tried to say, oh, well, on paper it's black and white. And Brother Lenny, on paper they have other now. They have so many. We all took the 2020 census. We saw what was on the form. It's not just black and white anymore. This This isn't the 60s or the 70s. On paper now, they have Black and Spanish, Black and Native American. Are you Native? Are you other? Are you? They have so many categories on the census. It's ridiculous. So I can't let him get away with saying that it's just black and white on paper. That's not true. But I definitely look forward to future discussions with him and with the sisters on the panel, with you, Brother Darius. And I feel like the Queens covered it all. I wouldn't be adding anything to what they said. I think that Sister Marcella and Sister Nicole Black, the Queens held it down, and they said everything that I would have said. And so I just want to encourage people to support the Mel Trek Project, loving ourselves. Again, if we love ourselves, we be more selective about what we subject our minds to, what we open our minds to, and what we subject even our vision, what we see, what we watch. And if we love our babies the way we say we love our babies, we won't feed them, as Professor James Small said, intellectual vomit. You know, it wasn't Dr. James Smalls. It was Dr. Kaba Kamene. You know, he was talking about intellectual vomit, you know, and what we give our children when we send them, you know, when we send them to be miseducated. And also when we sit our babies in front of the television to internalize the content from Disney and Nickelodeon and, you know, and Nick Jr. and all of this. So we really love our babies the way we say love our baby. This way we say we love our babies. We'll make sure we monitor what they watch and what they ingest, you know. And so support the Mel Trek Project. I mean, you can sit your child in front of Mel Trek and you don't have to worry about inappropriate gestures or inappropriate things.
Spell Mel Trek for us.
Okay, so Mel, MELTREK. So Mel and then Trek, like Star Trek.
And is that a website they can go to, or how do they find it?
Absolutely. So Mel Trek is available on our website. Our website is edanimeproductions.com. But if you didn't catch that, okay, well that's EDANIME Productions with an S.com. That's our website. Or if you go to the Google search engine and type in Mel Trek, our website will pop up. You can also get Mel Trek on Amazon. When we first came out, we were offering Mel Trek on DVD and DVD format, and I was getting calls and complaints. They said, "Doctor, you know, this isn't the 90s anymore. You know, you need to update, you need to upgrade. You know, where's your digital format?" And I said, "Okay, so it's available on Amazon. If you go to Amazon and type in Mel Trek, you'll be able to download both films and also our storybook." And so I have upgraded since since we released Mel Trek episode 1 and 2. But definitely, we got to do better with, you know, controlling what our children see, because ultimately, children imitate what they see. You know, children are the greatest imitators. And so my philosophy is, you know, if children are the greatest imitators, then let's give them something great to imitate.
Hey.
So,
that's it. As a matter of fact, you know, the concept that I focus on and use with regard to everything is everything we do is based on our frame of reference.
Facts.
It's based on our frame of reference. And so as a result of that, if we produce those positive things, if we put that positive energy out there, if we show the scientists, the mathematicians, the engineers, the doctors, the lawyers, the scholars, if that's what our young people see every day, that's what they're gonna run and want to be. So you'll be having hands raised in class and not saying I want to be Jordan, I want to be LeBron, I want to be Kevin Durant, which I have nothing against those brothers whatsoever. But I want us to understand that we have more than 3 doors: entertainment, street, and sports. Our doors are limitless.
Absolutely.
Our doors are limitless. There's 360 opportunities for us, at least, because we are the originators of what we base technology we're on right now came from us.
Facts. That's a fact. That's a fact, Brother Darius. Brother Darius, don't get me pumped up. You know what? You say you were ending the show. You say you were ending the show, and then you start dropping another jewel. Well, the technology is us. Right. And I'm like, oh my
I know. I promise I never wanted to be a preacher, but they said it, you know, my comebacks, I'm gonna have to work on that, you know. Hey, man, Queen, I'm gonna let you tap in if you want to, but You know why we got this. But 5, man, I appreciate you, DJ 5, star. Look out for our virtual summer camp. We're putting that together. If you all have an event or a project that you want to put in place that was going to happen, but now based on our social distancing guidelines, DJ 5 Star and I are working with a platform that will allow you to do your entire festival online, raise money, create venues. So we have that platform. So please reach out to us so we can help you produce that as well as incorporate it into your amazing, and you can still get the energy, get the funk, get the good time, and still raise a dime. All right? Because it is freestyle on Peace in the Morning. And since Dr. Mayat, since she has some hip hop going, I'm gonna close my piece for a moment with a little freestyle. I don't even know exactly which way I'm gonna go right now, but I think I'm gonna go with the Peace in the Morning show. So it's the Peace in the Morning show. It's the Peace in the Morning show. It'll give you that sure enough glow. It'll give you a super afro. It'll make you go Peace in the Morning show. That's Peace in the Morning show.
I love it.
Show today. And you can see that we're not for play. We had Dr. Mayat and Nicole Black too, and Marshall Woodland and Val Jenkins. She brought it from her mask into your face, to your case. Then Doc Mayat check his back. It's the Peace in the Morning show. How we flow. We got 5 Star on the table. We're not drinking no black label unless it's moringa seeds and ginger and something like turmeric. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you now, it's time for me to get my quick fix on that gargling that's keeping me safe. That apple cider vinegar with that mums that's making us all okay. I'm talking that Peace in the Morning show.
5 Star, please get him.
I'm letting it go. I'm cutting it down. I'm turning off all that music. Come on, 5 Star, do it for me now.
Kendrick, get him. Kendrick, we need you.
I got him.
Oh, wow. That was funny.
Hey, we're going to turn the show today. We appreciate it.
I need to sign him up for my comedy competition.
And you got it. Hey, we're gonna line everybody up. Thank everybody for coming out. Marshall Woodland, Nicole Black, Queen Val Jenkins, Dr. Mayat, the brother Laughing Lenny, brother Tony Woods was on, Terry Holt, who helped us with our graphics every week and our marketing. Thank you so much, brother. DJ 5 Star, I want to thank my family and the queens in my life that helped me, my mother, my wife, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my other grandmother, my aunt. When I thought I lost some weight, she told me 5 pounds, big deal. So thank you all for joining us and all the people who watched us from the beginning. We have people that's been on here with us the entire time, left and came back. So thank you all. Thank you for sharing this information. And Melody Robinson sent us a note. She gave us something. Landis, thank you so much, Landis Harwell, Daryl Carter, DCN Entertainment. Thank you for your support. Doncella Wilson, we appreciate you. But check this out. She sent us this song, and the song is from Mumbo Sauce, the group Mumbo Sauce. Mumbo Sauce and Mumbo Sauce, the recipe. So that's where we're going to go off. Check it out. Listen to the music. The music you heard earlier was from Queen Aya Sudebe, Earth Blessings, Royal Court Orchestra, World Peace, and Radical Change. That's what we need. So the brothers and sisters in Minneapolis, hey, brothers, stand down. Stop spending your money. You want to make change? Stop spending your money. And they'll call whatever governor they need to, whatever mayor, whatever Ku Klux Klan, and tell them to stop shooting them black people, stop killing them black people because you're messing with our money. That will shut it down. Every movement in America, every movement in the world has been impacted. Spiritually, you're either going to fast and pray 24/7, 365, or you're going to stop and hold that dollar. In between that, get your knowledge, right? There we go. This is Darius A. Stanton on Funky Friday. For all of my bulls, Val Jenkins is a bull, Nicole Black is a bull, Marshall Woodland is a bull. Dr. Mayat, what are you? A Leo?
My birthday was May 9th.
I'm an Aquarius.
Okay.
I'm a water sign.
There we go. When we got 4 bulls and an ooh, ow, ow. So thank you so much. And a happy anniversary to our good brother. He and his wife, his queen, just celebrated 9 years. So happy anniversary to that good brother. And a special moment to brother DJ Ridge out of D.C.
Tony Ridge. Tony Ridge.
Yeah, Tony Ridge, man. You know, he lost his life. Not exactly sure what transpired. I understand he was in the car at the time, but good brother. A lot of people loved him. He pushed a lot of people's music. Wonderful space in this environment. So thank you to him and all the families that are dealing with grief. We love you. God bless you. And know this, even though it may be raining, storming, whatever the clouds may look like gray, the sun is always shining. And so is that light in you. This is Darius A. Stanton with the Peace in the Morning saying, peace in the morning. Take us away, 5-star Mumbo Sauce, the recipe. Peace.
We got 4 days to fill out that ballot, Baltimore. I'll be going live to promote that at 7 o'clock this evening. Sponsored by Baltimore Votes. Appreciate y'all. Some of y'all viewing, if you talk to your remote control, pull up YouTube, type in DJ 5-star Peace of the Morning Show. You can view right on television. Don't forget 7 o'clock. Vote by mail, mix on any platform. You can follow any platform with Linktree. That's linktr.ee/DJ 5-star. That'll take you to the YouTube, the Twitch, Periscope, upcoming events. I see the light now. This show this morning, eyes wide open now.
Either you can or you can't. You do or you don't. Either you are or you ain't. You would or you won't. Well, me, if I could see it, I can achieve it. And if I dream and believe it, then I can be it.
Funky Friday all day long. Hey, boy, don't start that, boy. Hey, you heard him. You got to go out and get your vote on, exercise that energy, put that vote in the atmosphere. Make sure if you're voting for Biden that you send him a plan, redirect the energy he put out there. I'm just calling it like it is because he was the #1 pusher of the crime bill, point blank, that has so many black women, men, and children in jail today for generations. So, hey, if you want to support him, by all means, make sure he has a platform that's going to reform the criminal justice system in America. Otherwise, keep on pushing that button and expect to get nothing out of it, because that's exactly what you're going to be doing. Send an agenda. Don't just talk about it. Be about it. So DJ 5 Star, he makes sure we get out there and vote. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. This is Darius Say Stanton with the Peace in the Morning Show. Funky Friday. All the Bulls I'm celebrating for 50. It's peace in the morning.